It was a warm evening when my father first told me the story that would change everything. I was young, sitting beside him in the old armchair, the smell of leather and aged paper filling the room. He leaned in, his voice dropping low, as if the walls themselves might be listening. "You see, son," he began, "there are places in this world, hidden places where time bends, where the rules of reality no longer apply. My father, your grandfather, was the first to discover one of these places. He stumbled upon a doorway that led to something beyond our understanding, something ancient." I could feel a chill run down my spine as he spoke. The air around us seemed to grow heavy with his words, and I couldn't help but feel the excitement in my bones. I had an adventurous spirit even then, and with my crazy friends Rajiv, Ray, and Ryan we were always in search of the next big thrill. This was no different. We didn't just want to hear about these things, we wanted to experience them ourselves. Dad continued, telling me of the lost vine. A vine that lay flat on the ground, stretching out across the path ahead. It was a boundary, and once you crossed it, there was no going back. The moment you stepped over that vine, you were trapped in a place where time and direction no longer made sense. The rules of the world seemed to twist, and you couldn't escape, no matter how hard you tried. You had to flip a piece of your clothing and just sit down for a while, smoke a cigarette if you had any, and eventually the part should reveal itself. Not long after my father passed away, we decided to see if these old stories were true. It was exactly the kind of challenge we were looking for. The risk was part of the thrill. And so, the four of us, Rajiv, Ray, Ryan, and myself, decided to face it head on. We ventured into that forest, deep in the mountains, knowing full well we might get lost, or worse, we may never return. But there was something compelling about the mystery. We were drawn to it like moths to a flame. We found the vine, just as Dad described it. It was strange just lying there, like it didn't belong. It was the only thing in the forest that looked untouched, out of place. When we stepped over it, everything changed. The air grew thick, like we were walking through water. The light dimmed even though the sun was still up, and a low hum filled our ears. For hours, maybe even days, we wandered, disoriented. Our phones didn't work, compasses spun wildly, and no matter which direction we walked, we always ended up right back at the vine. Time didn't make sense. We slept, but didn't feel rested. We ate, but never felt full. Then, things got worse. Rajiv started hearing whispers. Ray saw shadows moving just out of sight. And Ryan, he vanished. Just like that. 1 second he was behind us, and the next, he was gone. We searched and screamed for him, but there was no trace. That was when the fear truly set in. Eventually, we saw a doorway. Just standing there in the middle of the forest, framed by 2 stone pillars covered in vines. It pulsed with energy, like it was alive. We knew it was the only way forward. And there he was. Ryan was standing in front of the doorway, dumbfounded. It was like he was stuck in a trance, until we snapped him out of it by yelling his name. We knew we had to go through that doorway, it may be our only escape. No matter what happened next, we all knew we needed to survive this experience to tell the tale. Rajiv opened the door and said, "You guys coming or not? We've came too far to start playing chicken now." Panic set in. Ray and I both pushed him in as a joke, because we knew we were gonna follow him in right after. Soon as Rajiv entered the doorway, he vanished. We could all see this new dimension on the other side of this mysterious doorway, but no signs of Rajiv. We called out to him but got no reply. We all stepped through the doorway, desperate to find him. On the other side, we found ourselves in a surreal, lifeless world. It was vast, empty, with an ocean in the distance and 2 moons with the sun in the middle in the sky. It seemed as though no life was there besides us. I wondered to myself if we could even survive there if we had to. The sky was a buhl gray mix with purple. The climate was hot and cold at the same time, and it felt like the day and night were one, as though there were no day and night cycle. It truly felt like a dream, but it was all too real. Rajiv was there, but something was different. He seemed disoriented, like he wasn't fully himself. He then said to us, now you guys decide to show up 5 days later, you should all be ashamed to call yourself my friends. When you guys pushed me through the doorway, I turned around to come back through, but the doorway was gone. I thought I was gonna be stuck here all alone until I died. So I said, bro, soon as we pushed you through we took about a minute to gather our thoughts, and then we all stepped through one by one. He was shocked when I said those words. At that moment we all realized we needed to get out of this dimension fast because time moved differently here. As we all kept moving through this strange world, everything came to life. The breeze blew, the grass moved, trees swayed, and if we stopped, everything stopped, as though we were the only actual living things in this strange world. It was like the environment was reacting to us in its own way. We then noticed a presence in the trees moving besides us, a massive, dark figure emerging from the trees. It looked like the nine-tailed fox demon. That's the best way I could describe it, and I know what you are all probably thinking, that's just an anime, it's just a myth, it can't possibly be real. Well, that's what I thought too until I saw it with my own eyes. Its eyes glowing bright, it was watching us, waiting, but it didn't attack. Eventually we stumbled upon another door. As we approached this door, the nine-tailed fox demon jumped out of the bushes, blocking our path. I've been watching you, it said, its voice echoing through the air. I will allow you to leave, but only if one of you agrees to become my vessel. You will take my power and bring me back to your world. Only then will I let you all go, if not, prepare to become my meal. The rest of us stood frozen, too terrified to speak. We didn't want to become hosts for this demon, but there was no choice. We had to leave. We had to get out of this strange world. But who would take the fox inside them? I knew what had to be done. I couldn't let my friends suffer any more than they already had. I stepped forward and told the fox, take me. I'll be the one. The fox agreed, with a big smile on its ugly face. The moment it entered me, I felt a surge of power unlike anything I had ever experienced in all of my existence. It was wild, chaotic, but also strangely familiar. We then stepped through the doorway, returning to our world. As I stood there, still processing what had just happened, an old monk appeared, standing in front of me. You've taken on the fox, the monk said. But you messed up by releasing it from its prison, and now you are its new prison. Its power is immense, and you must learn to control it. If you fail, it will consume you. I cannot allow you to leave the forest. The monk used a technique on me, the 8-palm seal he called it, in order to suppress the fox's overwhelming power, ensuring I didn't lose control. He told me, you must learn to merge with the fox, to become one with it. Only then can you control it and prevent it from destroying you and the entire world. My friends were allowed to leave. They were told to go back to civilization, to live their lives and never speak of what they have witnessed, but I had to stay. I couldn't return home just yet. The monk explained that I needed training, that I would be here for months, maybe even years, learning to suppress the demon's power. It was the only way to ensure I didn't become a danger to everyone. I trained with the monk, learning how to live with the fox's power without letting it consume me. The months passed, and I began to understand the demon's strength and how to channel it. The fox was no longer just a terrifying presence inside me, it became something I could control, something that made me stronger, more capable. I mean, for goodness sake, I could run up trees now, make clones of myself and much more. I could even fall off a building and nothing would happen to me, because the fox won't let me die. If I die, it dies. When the training was finally complete, the monk told me, you are ready. You can now return to your home if you choose to do so. Return to me if the seal ever starts to break. And so, I left the monastery. I returned to my friends, to civilization. But the nine-tailed fox was still with me, inside me. It would always be with me. And though I had learned to control it, I knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would always be challenges. The power of the fox was tempting, and I would have to stay vigilant, always ready to control it, to ensure it never overtook me. And my friends were all terrified of me even though I was the one who saved their lives. Maybe I should have let the fox just eat us all. But for now, I was back. I was home. But that's not where my story ended. I started hearing the demon's voice in my head more often. At times it tempted me, sometimes it gave me guidance. I started getting dreams of it becoming stronger and eventually out of control. Maybe all of my training to learn control over this beast was all for nothing. I felt myself becoming more evil as time went on, like I was losing pieces of myself the longer I kept this thing in me. One night I went to sleep and the seal broke and I fully transformed into the beast with no control over it. I destroyed villages with no memory of all the destruction it caused. I don't even know how I returned to human form. At that moment I made up my mind to return to the forest, hoping to find that old monk whom sealed this monster in me, to hopefully find a way and remove it. Even if I had to die in the process, anything was better than sharing a body with this ungodly creature. As I made it close to the monk's village deep in the forest, I saw a light beam down from the heavens. An angel came down with it. To my surprise, it was my father. He said to me, "Son, I've been watching you from the heavens for a long time. You carry within you an unclean spirit, a demon not of this world, and I know you are here to get rid of it." Just as he said that, the monk showed up. The monk spoke as if he knew this moment would come. He said that all of his people are dead, however maybe this angel can help me free you from this abomination. They then perform a ritual that took hours to complete and pulled the nine-tailed fox demon out of me. The monk held the beast in the palm of his hands and returned it through the door back to its rightful prison. I felt weak at that point, as though the creature took all of my energy with it. My father said to me, "Son, I'm proud of you. You did the right thing, and now someday we will be able to reunite again in heavenly places." So I asked him, if I had chosen not to be rid myself of this beast, would I have not been able to ascend? His reply was not shocking to me. "No, my son, you would have descended with it, because demons cannot ascend to high places." I then asked the monk, why did the fox wanted to come back to our world, and why was it trapped in a prison dimension? The monk said, like everything, it just wants to be free, but its evil knows no boundaries. This world were their home long before humans were ever created, and the fox is not the only demon trapped in this forest. There are many more like him, they just have different forms. The foxes wants to destroy all humans and make them feel the same way humans made them feel. I then went back home and I'm living my best life, the life God Almighty intended for me, and that's my story. Hope you all enjoyed.